welcome to another episode of Posh Teacher. And I am honored to have Cassie Stevens on our program today. I'm just so excited to talk to her. She sounds amazing. She has a podcast, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and just such an exciting world. And we're just really excited to have her. Thank you so much for being on our program.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, well, we always ask here at Posh Teacher, our first question is, what was your aha moment when you decided to become a teacher?
Well, I don't know if it was an aha moment, but more like this is kind of what you have to do kind of thing. I was in college. I, like so many of us, didn't really have a for creating. And so I decided to pursue getting my degree in painting, which was very exciting and fun. But my parents were not really keen on the idea of me spending the next couple of years in school just in a studio and painting, and then thinking beyond that, what exactly do you do with a painting degree is what my thinking was, I'm going to live in your basement and mooch off you and just paint pictures. I mean, it was clear as mud to me, but seeing the vision. So they said, why don't you pursue a teaching degree also? And we have teachers in our family, and I'd always liked my other art teachers. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll teach art. So I got an art ed degree, mostly thinking I was still going to live in mom's basement and paint pictures. I mean, I just got the degree and I'm like, okay, I'll get this piece of paper. But when I graduated, I did end up getting a job about 6 hours south of where I'm from in Indiana. I now live in Nashville. I've been here in Nashville, Tennessee since. And I did my student teaching in high school, but I got hired at elementary school. And the first day I was in a classroom with elementary school students was like the first day ever. It was kind of like that scene in Jurassic Park where Chris Pratt is like trying to control the dinosaurs. It's like, who's going to make the first move? That was me that very first day. Like, oh my God, what do I do with you guys? So I learned a lot. And what I learned was that I loved teaching art. And I really love this age group. I've not taught beyond this age group. I'm pretty immature and childish, so it works out really well. I've found my people. So that's kind of like the roundabout way that I got to this place. So I guess not until I was in it did I realize that I loved it.
Wow. So when you got into your classroom world, were you like, ooh, this is maybe where I can just let my creativity come out that you've been holding back maybe? Or what was it like for you to be in that classroom environment?
Yeah, well, in high school, I really liked to dress kind of funky and we hit the thrift stores a lot because, like I said, small town in Indiana, there's there's Fashion Bug and you know what I mean? Not a lot of like fashionable options. So we loved to like hit the thrift store and antique stores and just look for some funky and fun things. But when I got hired as a teacher, this was in 1998, which there was a lot of khaki pleated front pants and a lot of jean jumpers. That was like the teacher on the teacher uniform. So I thought, I guess this is my life now. I guess this is how I dress, button down shirt, tuck it into my pants, wear a belt. And I hated it. I really hated it. So I started to kind of like tap back into my fashion sense from high school. I'd wear some old funky vintage earrings, and I would notice that the kids would really remark on that. It was like it took an interest to her if whatever I was wearing kind of tied in with my lesson, right? Like I started making little pins out of clay of Starry Night that I would wear, and I just saw such a response from them that it just kind of spiraled out of control from there, where I'd always wanted to learn how to sew. So then I started sewing clothing. First, it started with aprons that I would wear for what I was teaching, and then it became clothing. And, the more that I saw them respond and I enjoyed doing it and wearing it, it just kind of took off from there. So, yeah.
How exciting. Oh my gosh, I just love hearing this. So when you look into your wardrobe in the morning or for the week, I mean, do you have all your outfits planned out already for like your week? I mean, how
I
does
try.
that?
Don't you? I mean, don't you do that too?
The night I do the night before, but I'm thinking yours are just like top to bottom are incredible. Or are you like, I gotta sew this tonight so I can wear it on Friday?
I used to do that, and now I'm like, look, I've got enough. I mean, I have a lot of dresses that in my sewing room that are kind of halfway through the process of being made into something to wear. But
Oh
a lot
wow.
of times, if I have my life together, which is very infrequent, on a Sunday night, I'll usually, or Sunday afternoon, it's
Yes.
kind of like nice for me to just like pull things out and be like, I think I'll wear this, and thinking about what we're going to teach about. Like if I know we're going to learn about a certain artist, or we're talking about line or whatever. I have a big dress with scissors, a pair of scissors on it. If I know we're going to be using scissors and talking about scissor safety, I'll wear my scissor dress.
Oh
So I
my,
kind of like lay that stuff out or set it out to wear.
yeah.
But then there's the random morning when I wake up and I'm like, I don't feel like wearing that. So I've been known to just kind of like close my eyes and grab.
Oh, I love this. And it's,
That's the best way. I'm telling you, I'm like, this is the coolest outfit ever, and I would have never put it together. But I'm usually like, ooh,
oh my goodness.
it's kind of fun.
Oh, it is. It's fascinating. So tell me, because, I've always noticed, I definitely agree that what you wear creates a certain mood or helps you handle certain situations. Like I've always, like if I had to reprimand a student and talk to him serious, the next day, I'd wear my black leather jacket and my 4-inch heels and I'd be ready to chat. So, do you think in teaching, yeah, what we wear really can make a difference and just affect our classroom environment? What do you think?
I do because I feel like it, first of all, it shows the kids that, look, the adults in my life are comfortable enough with who they are and they
Yeah.
are embracing who they are and they like to celebrate fashion. We all like to have that thing that is our like little flair, our little thing that we just enjoy. And it's good for kids to see, no matter what age, adults enjoying fashion, having fun with fashion, that adults can have fun too. I think sometimes, especially high schoolers, they forget that. I mean, when I saw my teachers in high school, I just figured they lived at school and,
Oh yeah,
right, they didn't do much of anything. They never had fun. But I think it's good
great.
for kids to see that, we embrace who we are. We're comfortable enough with who we are to dress like how we are, even if it's different from how everybody else dresses and looks and does.
Yes,
So yeah, I think that it can mean, it's like a subliminal message to kids, that
yes,
this is okay. It's great to embrace the person that you are and to share it out with the world.
yes.
Yeah.
I love your philosophy. And actually, have you had students come to you and kind of say, wow, you've been an inspiration to me, or some, I don't know, effect that you've had on them? Have they approached you and shared their feelings?
I have a lot of girls, especially because I mean, I usually wear lots of dresses they'll wear their rainbow clothes on art day or
Oh,
a shirt with a rainbow. And the boys will wear shirts that say like, the artist shirts. Target does a great job of selling things that are, of course, things that I wish I could wear.
I love it.
Rainbows and lots of like encouraging words about art and creativity and imagination. So I love that they make sure to wear those on their art day. Or we had a lot of kids make little palette hats because I have a little palette hat and they'll clip that in their hair or bobby pin it. So it's really sweet. My favorite is career day because then they all come dressed. They associate with like art teacher now with like dressing completely
That,
wacky.
I love it.
Wednesday. So that's like, I'm the art teacher. Okay.
What a blast. Oh, I want to be in your class.
You have a good time.
Oh my goodness. And have you, as one of your projects, has it ever been sewing or working with fibers? Yes?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to teach because as a kid, I didn't have elementary school art. So
Yeah.
for me, when I was a kid, it was just always about spending the summer with my grandma where she would teach me how to
Oh,
sew and embroider and all that stuff. And so whenever I think about what I want to teach my students, I always think how
yes.
much I loved learning that. So,
Oh,
and whenever you teach something that you personally love, you teach it with so much more passion and an enthusiasm, and then that's contagious. The kids get really pumpkin juice too. And I think that, the fibers and sewing, that's kind of like a lost art. Not a lot of people know how to sew, even hand sew. And
Yes.
so when I share that with the kids, I feel like I'm giving them a life skill also. You're going to be able to mend things, fix things. We had a kid bring in their stuffed animal and we walked through how to
Oh,
fix the little torn parts that their sibling had torn off. So we did a little surgery on that. So yeah, learning how to sew we start usually around second grade. It's their favorite thing, that and weaving.
really? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And I've brought in, because they just don't understand how clothing is made, because
Yes.
a lot of people aren't having grandparents or parents sew. So one time I brought in the fabric. I'd taken pictures of the kids' artwork and had it printed on fabric. So I had their art on fabric.
Oh my goodness.
It was really cute. And then I brought in a bunch of dress patterns and I let them vote on what dress I would make out of it. And then I just kind of walked them through the
My
process.
goodness. So, when you like all these ideas, do you create your own curriculum on, you know, what you're going to teach? How do you organize your amazing classes?
Well, it's a lot. I teach kindergarten through fourth grade art. So my school is fairly small. There's about 350 students here. So usually what we do at the beginning of the year is we come up with like a theme, and I love to do like a big school-wide collaborative. Like this year, our theme was the song "What a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong. So we learned the song and we learned how to say the song in sign language. We have a lot of sign language interpreters here who sit in on my class anyway. So they were signing the song and I was like, let's learn how to sign the song too. So we learned the signs, and as a school, each one of us created a little work of art that contributed to a big giant mural that had the lyrics painted on it. So my first graders all painted flowers that would go on the mural, and my third and fourth graders made buildings. So that's like how I like to start the year, with like a warm, fuzzy collaborative. We're all in this together, artists for making things beautiful and for uplifting people, and let's do that. So from there, the rest of the year, it's usually all about what we're working with. Because it's really hard as an art teacher to prep all the supplies. I teach 5 grade levels a day. So if one grade level is painting and then the next grade level is working with clay and then the next grade level is doing something else, it's a lot. So
It's a lot. Yes.
all painting and then the paint's on the table, but we're all doing different projects, makes my life a lot easier. So we just wrapped up, we were all doing sewing with my older classes. They were sewing pillows and the pizza pillows and all.
I saw that in your Instagram. I actually wrote down here the pizza pillows. I thought that was phenomenal.
My third graders are finishing those, and I have 30-minute art classes, so it's hard because it's like
a lot.
we're trying, but it takes us a long time to do these things. But they love them; they look great. My fourth graders had to learn how to dye fabric, so they could make their own pillows that way. And then we're right now wrapping up clay. So everybody's made a couple of clay projects. We all just made mugs. I did it with first grade, and then every grade level that came in afterward was like, "We're making mugs today."
You're like,
Okay. We were just so excited. I thought, sure, why not? Because to make art that you can actually use, that has a purpose and a function, that's really special to them, as opposed to just painting a pretty picture and then it goes on the wall and then, you know what I mean? But I can take this home and I can drink out of it. What? So
I think it's important, for people to have a creative space. Do you think that's important for people?
Yes, 100%. Because I've been teaching for 23 years. And so my first 7 to 10 years, I felt like I had to dedicate all of my time and energy to becoming the best teacher I could be. So I would read every book that I could, and I was in my room during the summer trying to just organize and work on lesson plans. Like I was just immersed in it. And that's all I would allow myself to do. And that was a huge mistake. That was a big mistake because I got really burnt out. It did not make me a better teacher at all. It made me a bitter teacher, if anything. And what I learned was I would ask myself, like, why do I feel irritated? Teaching is supposed to be something that I love. What's missing? And what's missing is that as a creative person, we have got to be creating. And I had not been allowing myself to do that because I would tell myself, no, you have to focus on teaching. You don't have time for creating because it's frivolous or whatever. I realized that creative people, if you don't take I call them your creative vitamins. If you don't take your creative vitamins, if you're not making something, anything, I don't care what it is. If you're planting flowers, if that's your thing, if you love baking, I don't care what it is. But if you're not doing that thing, then you start to experience a deficiency, just like if you weren't taking vitamins, and you start to feel funky, something's off, you don't feel right. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, I'm going to start creating. I had a hard time though, because it had been a 10-year span since I had been creating. When I was like, okay, I'm going to start creating. And then I was like, what am I going to create? I forgot what my passions were because I had let it kind of dry up. So I just didn't know. I tried to start painting again and it just felt really forced. I wasn't enjoying it at all. I noticed, I was like, how long have I been doing this for? It shouldn't be like that.
Right.
So I was like, what did I like to do when I was a kid? So I would just kind of reach back and I thought, well, I loved to sew and I loved to embroider. So I just started going to the craft stores and I would get a couple of things that sparked my, interest. Went home and it started with that, just like doing something simple like sewing a little embroidery on a glove or a little something on a shirt. And it just kind of like made me feel better. Like, yeah, I did this and now I can wear this and okay. And then it just kind of built from there. But it's important that we don't neglect that side. We have got to make sure that we're doing it. But like I said, it doesn't have to be like, okay, I got to have a studio and it has to be perfect and it's going to look like this. And this is what an artist does. Throw that out the window, sit on the couch, set it all, just get comfortable, use what you've got, but make sure you do something.
That is so powerful. So Cassie, tell us what your other life is besides teaching.
When I'm not at school, it's funny because I've kind of like intertwined both. Whenever I'm at home creating, I'm usually sorry. I'm usually I know. Hello. I'm usually kind of creating something that ties in with school. So like right now I'm illustrating a book that I wrote that is based on a poem that I wrote a long time ago when I first started teaching, that teaches kids about the names of lines. So usually when I go home, I'm working on that, or like I said, sewing. It's usually really when I go home, I think of that as my time, when I have like an hour of just like, okay, now it's my time. What do I feel like doing? I try not to force myself to be like, okay, let's just finish this dress. No, it can wait. I really feel like knitting, whatever, So I'm one of those people who has like a bunch of projects just kind of everywhere.
Depends on the mood.
Yes, whatever I feel like doing. But oftentimes it will kind of tie in with school, and that helps me a little bit too. Because whenever I'm thinking about teaching and creating, I feel like they are both like two paths. And whenever I have my paths kind of aligned, like they're going in the same direction, I usually can create something and make a lesson that's really kind of more successful. Like if I'm getting ready to teach about Vincent van Gogh, I'm usually thinking, okay, what can I create? Maybe I'll make a Vincent van Gogh dress. So even though I'm like at home on my own time, I'm in my sewing room working on that dress, and it might spark some ideas for a lesson or not, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's like two paths are kind of going in the same direction. So that's usually how I operate, but that's what works for me. I don't know if that's the way for everybody, but that's what works for me.
It's fascinating. Hey, when you mentioned the artist, your Mona Lisa post was incredible. I'm part Italian, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to show this to my parents, the Mona Lisa. And you did the whole frame, and that was phenomenal.
My Italian accent, though, is something not to be admired. I mean, it's like, first it's like Italian, then it switches to like Southern, and then it's like some other random, like, what is that discernible or indiscernible kind of thing? So
it's a hip Mona Lisa. I loved it. It was, I mean, I just want to really like just send you big love to that post. It was amazing. It was phenomenal. And your kids must have been like,
hard for life probably, but
no. Tell me about your podcast. I mean, you have so much going on. It's phenomenal. How do you find time to do your podcast, and where do you get your inspiration for your topics for your podcast?
Yeah, my podcast, everything is named Cassie Stevens because I'm not very creative with coming up with things. Is geared, it started out being geared towards art teachers, just kind of advice and hacks and things like that. Lately, though, the topics are a lot more broad. Like recently I was talking about how to combat exhaustion because I feel like this is the time of year when all teachers, we are just exhausted. And I know I've been working on ways to kind of get over that hump. It's the long distance between winter break and spring break that I feel like, and the days are shorter. It's always dark out, cold. So, I just kind of address things like that, just kind of like teacher life. And with, of course, art teacher kind of isms sprinkled throughout there since that's my bag.
That's your jam.
My jam. I have a blog where I share a lot of lessons. I record a lot of my lessons because I teach a lot of projects to multiple classes. So if I already have it pre-recorded, I can make sure all of the information is delivered to my students without being interrupted or a question here or there. If I just press play, they pay a lot more attention to TV Stevens than real life. And then I just share those videos out with other art teachers because I figured, well, I've made it for my kids. Yeah. I can help other kids if they, if teachers need the help. I'm all about like sharing with other teachers. And I think that's it.
And your TikTok? Woo!
And that's just so fun. I just love it. I love following other art teachers or other teachers on there.
So do you record like after school? Do you like close the door and turn on the music?
The custodian always walks in on me and he's just like, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, he's like, are you recording? I'm like, yeah, get in here. Let's dance. He's like, yeah.
How many times have you been Teacher of the Year? If you haven't,
I have.
You have. Thank you for saying. I was like, wait a second, so
really great people. So yeah, but the thing about Teacher of the Year that if nobody has gotten it yet, which they don't tell you on the front end, is like the paperwork.
Really? Wait, what?
Yeah, you got to fill out paperwork afterward. I was like, Teacher of the Year, I don't do paperwork anymore.
More paper. We already do enough.
Now don't I get a person to do the paperwork for me? Isn't that how that should work? Yeah.
Oh my God. So how many times have you been Teacher of the Year, Cassie?
1.5. Me and somebody tied one year at my school. So.
Oh really?
We shared the honor, a really good friend of mine. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. At least it was a good friend of yours. That's
recognized
good.
By your peers. It's nice. Everybody works so hard. So it's nice to get that little like pat on the back. So yeah.
Definitely. No, well deserved. My goodness. And it's just your enthusiasm and your ideas is contagious. I'm sure all teachers are peeking in like, ooh. What are your plans in the future with so many things going on that you have? Do you have any more plans?
Yeah, I have. I just am about to, I've been talking about it for a while, but it really is about to happen. I have a book coming out and it's called Art Teacher in 101. And I'm self-publishing this book. I've written a couple other books also that I'm a publisher for. One is, they can be found on Amazon. One is Clay Lab for Kids, and it's 52 clay projects for kids. And another one is Fiber Arts Projects for Kids, which is called Pitch and String Lab for Kids. And they were written for a kid to get the book, open the book, and read the directions and kind of do it on their own independently. But this book, the Art Teacher in book, is for art teachers, and it talks a lot from beginning to end about classroom management, because that's the one thing that I feel like, even I every day could use some classroom management tips and tricks, especially as a teacher starting out. I feel like you don't really understand how important it is and then how to even do it until you are in the trenches, so that's something exciting that's coming out. And I'm leading a art teacher conference this summer. So it's called the Art Teacher in Extravaganza. And
tell us about that. What is it? Several days, like a retreat, or what?
Yeah, like a retreat, and it's open to any creative person because I've got a lot of people who just love creating that are coming. But it can be 2 days if you sign up for 2 or 4 days.
Oh,
And it's at this beautiful park in Tennessee called Montgomery Bell State Park. They have you can stay at the park, and we have it in their conference center. They have a nice inn there that you can stay in. And we have 4 days of working with clay and printmaking and painting and fiber arts. So
ooh.
do it all. And I'm really excited. And if anybody's interested in finding out, they can just go to the link on my Instagram. And so,
And they can, so it's in person. So that's great that
yeah.
people
We did it
must be
last year.
excited.
We did it last year, and we wore masks, and we really spread out and
Good.
distance, and
it worked out.
If people are comfortable coming, then we are happy to have them.
We would absolutely love to hear your personal and inspirational quote, because you are a slew of wisdom.
Yeah.
And what can you share, words of wisdom?
It's a quote that I read not too long ago that I really liked. I want to make sure that I get it right. It was, if you wouldn't take advice from somebody, then don't take their criticisms.
Ooh.
So I know that a lot of people, when we post on social media, or when you get negative feedback, maybe even from coworkers, or even somebody makes like a side comment, you're hanging something in the hallway as an art teacher, that's my mind. And maybe somebody says something not as kind, but yet and we'll drag that comment around with us for the rest of the day. It just is like this little thing that sits on your shoulder. And just when you're having a happy moment, it comes in, and it's like, remember how somebody said that to you? And you're just like, oh my gosh, why am I thinking about this again? So one thing that I just think, if somebody says something negative, I just think, if I wouldn't go to them for advice and say, hey, what do you think? If I wouldn't ask them for any kind of advice, why would I take to heart their criticism?
Oh, yes.
So just kind of like flush that down the toilet and let it go out.
Yes.
Try to anyway. I don't know.
I know. We try.
Everybody have that like hamster wheel loop where the thing's like, stop.
Enough. I know. And especially as females, don't we try to I
Oh.
mean, it can go on and on.
You're exhausted. You put your head on your pillow, and you're just like,
Yes.
ding. It's
Yes.
like, the hamster starts spinning. It's like, no. So yeah.
Yes, I
When
agree.
you take their advice, then don't take their criticism.
And move on.
Yeah, try to move on.
We're going to try. I think you're wearing today. Can you tell us about your outfit?
I would love to, actually. It's Read Across America Week, and today was Book Character Day. So I found this fabric a couple of years ago from Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. So it's a Mo Willems book, and so I made the dress from a vintage pattern several years ago. So I thought I would wear it today. I wear it every year, and everybody's like, oh, is that a new dress? I'm like, no, I literally wear it once a year. So everybody thinks it's new. But one of the kids today, actually a couple, had dressed as the pigeon. So I was excited to get a picture with the actual pigeon. Dress up week, which, I'm all for. But
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Dress up week. So, but then it's kind of hard because we're already dressing up. And then it's like, how much more dress up? I don't know. Because they had Wacky Wednesday. And of course, I look like Wednesday. I mean, to me, it's just a normal day. But go a little bit above. I don't know if I got
how much more notches. And actually, do you go to the grocery store? This is your everyday fashion.
Yeah. Because once you wear it, you don't really remember. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
yes.
And then, especially if you've been doing it for a while, I don't really think about it. I don't really think, oh, I don't want to wear this. I don't really care, So the weirdest thing that's ever happened was,
yes, tell us.
I have a dress that is a Campbell's soup can, because we were learning about the artist Andy Warhol, who did the paintings of Campbell's soup cans.
Yes, the ones at the Chicago Art Museum.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I sewed a dress to look like a big Campbell's soup can. It's a very cute dress. I find just myself.
Fabulous.
And I wore it to the grocery store, not even thinking about it. And I get up to the cash register, and the checkout clerk says, oh, you don't have any Campbell's soup in your cart. And I'm thinking, what is he talking about? And then I was like, oh, because my dress. I mean, it's a long day. I'm like, okay, got it. And he said, I hear it's good.
Were you on camera? You were in hidden camera or something. It's kind of
maybe I won't go to this checkout aisle anymore. It's awkward, but
oh my god!
about the weirdest thing. I get a lot of comments.
Tell me. Share some of those stories.
Yeah.
I mean, fascinating.
The weirdest thing I think, because I wear a lot of cans under my dress.
I was going to ask you, do you make, yes?
I don't make the crinolines.
tulle? Crinoline?
Yeah. I usually just get them on Amazon because they're part of like Halloween. You can get them cheap for like under $10, and I have one in every color of the rainbow. And
oh my gosh.
they just really fill out the dress and whatever. But it has happened to me so often that this must be a thing. I don't know. Little old ladies will come up to me and they'll say, "Oh, I used to wear dresses just like this," and that's I'm sure they did. Yeah. They always lift up my skirt.
What?
Yeah, they'll always be like, "Oh, they'll like, I wear crinolines underneath." And one time a lady did it and she goes, "I just lifted up your skirt." And I was like, "Yeah, I know."
That's so funny. Oh,
I just think they're innocent. Obviously, they're innocent about it. They're just like, "Oh, yeah, me, I used to do that too." But yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like when people are like pregnant or something and they're like,
they
touch your stomach.
Belly, right. And but they do it before they even think about it. It's like, "Oh my gosh, what am I
what the heck?
What am I doing?"
It's free range. Oh my goodness. But you're comfortable with your outfits and you're like, hey, why not?
I mean, I know it's okay. Now I was one time doing bus duty and it's so funny because I was standing there holding my bus sign and I'm trying to communicate with the teacher down the hallway. And I have a little kindergartner standing right in front of me. And all of a sudden I'm talking to her and I hear all the kids go, "Whoa," like that. He had lifted up my entire dress. Just the dress. I was wearing cans underneath, but all the kids were like, "Wow." And he said, "I just wanted to know why your skirt was so puffy." And I'm like, We're just like, what in the heck? Yeah.
That's a kindergartner for you, right? Their curiosity. Woo.
Yeah. I want to know what was happening. What's going on? Yeah. Kindergartners are little old ladies. So
I love it. Oh my gosh. Fun with fashion. I mean, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And at school, do other teachers, have you inspired them to kind of change their style? And, because the teacher style, you and I know, as you were talking, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it needs to be going up a notch. Do you think it's doable to bring that into the teacher world to help them jazz up their outfits a little? Yeah. Do we have hope?
I don't know. I think it's whatever you're comfortable with, and I think that it kind of, like I said, you kind of have to ramp it up, like for me, it started with some earrings or a pin, because I think some people are like, "Oh, that's cute, but I could never pull it off." And I want to say, but have you ever tried, and can you start small? Just start with what you are comfortable with. So when you see a pair of cute earrings, why not buy them? And I think that some people are like, "Well, that looks too fancy, or I'll just save it for a special occasion." This day can be a special occasion. So just wear those flashy earrings, because the funny thing is that people will compliment you on it like crazy. You wear a new lipstick color and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you look so cute." And it's almost like it inspires you. Well, if you liked that, wait till you see it tomorrow,
I love it.
It kind of goes from there. And, the funny thing is the teachers that I work with, because I've been here for so long, that they don't even they'll be like, "Oh, you look cute today." But, it's not like they, they're just used to it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Oh, that's just
crazy. You're Stevens. If I dressed in now when I don't dress, that's when they're like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. If you were in khakis or loafers.
Right. We'll tone down for you. Even kids, I used to get I had one little student who would give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If when she would walk up to me, because if it didn't have enough rainbows, like today's outfit, she would be like, like, I'd be like, "Doggone, I made this. What are you talking about? This took forever. You give me a thumbs down." She's like, "No, rainbows."
Oh, ouch. Hey, we do it all for them. So, that's your audience.
And it's exciting. It's fun to get out of bed and, think about what you're going to wear. And it just kind of puts you in a certain mood, I think,
Definitely. Yeah. No. And so do you have one signature article of clothing you have several? Or is there one thing that?
Yeah. Well, for
your
me, yeah, I have so much clothes. I think my signature look is
Yes.
probably like the 50s, like what I'm wearing, like the fit and the flare. That's like my favorite.
That's your thing.
You know, I think, like I said, you got to find not only what is comfortable, like what you're comfortable wearing, but what flatters your figure, you know? So, you know, I really like the look of certain clothing, but when I put it on, I'm like, but it doesn't look like I'm not comfortable with how it looks, you know? So
Yeah.
find what you like to wear, what you look good in, and then just
Nice.
keep buying that.
5 in the same color.
Exactly, because that's what you're going to wear. And, you know, you've got it, just because it looks good on somebody else might not look good on you. So find out what does look good on you and what makes you feel good wearing it. That's the most important part.
Really. It's been a pleasure to have you, really. And we'd love to have you back. You can talk about your book and your latest fashions. And thank you so much for your time. And I love your classroom. It looks so fun. I wish I were in your class. I wouldn't mind shrinking down. No, you're blocking the messy part. Everything looks good. You planned it real well. Yes. There we go. And well, thank you so much for being on the program, and I wish you a great end of the school year. And yes, we will get through these you know, February, March, but spring's coming, so I can't wait to see your outfits for spring. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.